So I'll show you what I was doing. Oh, wait a minute. Turn this off. All right. Yeah, this is all paint and tape, and I got this off Amazon. It was not terribly expensive. They show you how to fold and make the box. This part was supposed to be throwaway, but I actually put screws in it and glued it with cyanoacrylate glue and made an actual functional handle. I had the throwaway part. I remember I used to like to hang stuff like that on the wall because it looks cool. Maybe I'll stick that tape to it and hang the whole thing on the wall. It looks cool, right? All right, I'll show you what I was doing. But first, this poem. I want my children back. I want my children back. It says, see if I can read it. Um, please and thank you. Thank you is one word. They mocked holiness. They persecuted those who love you, truth and mercy. Expose their works fully. Forgive them in your genuine grace and everlasting mercy. And finally, heal them, comfort them, and restore the families. It doesn't say and, but I added that. I get a lot of use out of this tool. I just realized it's not perfectly square, actually. This was a weird color I made up here. Shining Glad. Yeah, that was from that black paint. Yeah, there's the cabinet I gotta finish. Here was the ideas for the drum and stuff. I didn't use a through rod. I used carriage bolts. There's the wah pedal. That's done. I could have done a better job though on the circuit. I'd like a crack at a circuit and do a better one. Maybe mod it a little so it's a little more vocal. Not too distorted, but see, this is how I drew it out. I changed it around a little bit and moved the resistors up further so it looks better. Here's how I laid it out the first time based on the GeoFX basic wah circuit website. And this part just has a long red wire there, but I think it looks better like that to leave all the leads, the hard iron leads on there and do it like that. Use half-watt resistors maybe just for the bigness of it. I know they don't matter, but they do actually, they do because they saturate a little and suck a little electricity. So, all right, I'll show you what I was doing. There's the, there's the, there's the drum, the drum. But I gotta finish it still. There's the motor and the pulley. I made the pulley actually. Welded the rope together with, sliding back the sleeve and welding the inside and then pulling the sleeve over and welding it with as little glue as possible. It actually worked. Here's what I was doing. There's the wah pedal. It's finished. I know the last shot I showed you was all reflective in there and you couldn't see, so how's that? See? Not bad, but I could have done better. I could have spaced it out more and made it, the population look a little cooler. Like I said, bring these resistors here up here and eliminate all this red wire and just connect the dots like that, and then make holes for all of my outs so that all my outs were coming off the same way. But the thing was, I want to be able to see the path of the circuit. So, you know, well, that was the whole point. I'm trying to learn. I kind of memorized a lot of these pieces on this circuit. I could almost do this circuit from memory, but so there's the delay, and because it's the roughest and oddest shaped pedal on the first one I made, and it's not even square, and Nick said it's the coolest one of all of them. Because they did kind of rip it off. Those people ripped it off. I remember that. They copied it exactly. Not exactly. Yeah, they did. They copied my drawing exactly, which was better than the pedal came out. But this one's green. That's a tremolo. I'm going to write on them, but I have to wait for them to dry. So then I go in order of like hotness, right? This is a clean boost. Just a nice earth tone. Then this one is a little darker brown. And this is, what is this one? Oh, that's that compressor. It's super crushy. It's a, and even though it's not a drive, neither is that. It's clean boost, super clean, nice trebles in there and stuff. Um, then it's very crushy and more colored, which you could clean it up a little, like that probably, but it is kind of crushy. I'd have to be able to play it loud to enjoy it probably. Then this is Shining Glad. So I put, you remember I cut this one with the Dremel tool? I don't know if you remember that video. And then I turned the card upside down so you can see the huge population there. And jumpered all of the pot circuits over the other side. Tried to make it as neat as I possibly could. Yeah, the battery's in there kind of sloppily, but that's just how I threw it in there. So next in this yellow for OD1. However, it is kind of a greenish yellow. It's a little greenish looking, not too much. It's different than any of the OD1s that I played. I had a super overdrive. I had a very old original. Uh, I don't remember if it was a silver screwed one, but it was like, you know, practically the oldest, with the exception. No, I think it did have a silver screw. It's all rusty and stuff when I got it. That one sounded good, but very colored. This one is able to adjust the noise floor. That's why I put a hole there. And it gets all the brights. It's a little more transparent, but it is very colored. It is very crushy like a compressor. So I'm going in order here of like, effect. All of these have a nice hollowness to them, which is, I think they're better than a lot of the stuff I used to have. This is DS1 it's called, but it sounds better than the DS1s that I've, tampered with briefly or heard. Maybe, it's just much clearer. And again, it has the adjustment pot there, probably for the same thing. I can't remember, but I put a hole there. So I don't know if that's a gain, but then of course it goes to red, even though that would not be the color of a DS2. And this doesn't sound like a metal zone or a DS2. I'm not sure. Maybe it is a DS2. This one is clips off the light diodes. I like that. And I like that I can see them. They light up like. I thought about installing this one, get a second one of them. It's only $23 for this kit. And just do a hard circuit, all point to point on a piece of cardboard like I did in the wah pedal here, and install a second switch in here for distortion where you can see the lights lighting up, like actually have a second battery for it. So anyway, then this is the second distortion, a little more saturated. I wrote sustain on this one. Remember I told you? See, they look different now. But the reason I wrote sustain on this one is because once you get to a certain point, that's about what it does. It just keeps sustaining, like more saturated, more smoothed out, longer lasting. But from here to here, it's pretty much a drive or a gain. But once you get past there, so I put an S on that one. And then the fuzz, I left it black because that's how it sounds. It's woolly. But this is tone knob, which I didn't change what it says on it. I was trying to think. I wanted to write a word or something for it, like, but fatness or whatever, F for fat. But I put a T. And what happens is the way it's wired is it gets more trebly down here, like super trebly and super clean and more transparent. And then up here, it's more like I guess what they call a big muff. I don't know. I don't like the name of it for certain reasons, obvious. But yeah. So I left that one black, and plus I liked the way I wrote fuzz 1A. Look how good that writing looks. It's like super cool looking. I did a few takes at it and kept wiping it off, going, "Whoops, that was sloppy." And it is sketchy, but I like the way it looks, so I didn't want to mess with it. So here they all are. See? Oh yeah, there's my price chopper. I'll tell you the story. I've told the story already, but it's important since I'm sharing this with my children. I want my children back. I miss you. I saw you. I saw you, daughter. Daughter, I saw you at my one daughter. I saw you at the Speedway Market in New Windsor, New York, in that blazer with the female buck hunters logo on the side. I know you recognized me. Your eyes practically rolled out of your head. And I know you wasn't scared of me, and I love you. All right, look. So, Mike Ski, right? Here's the moral of the story. I'm working like a gentleman. And they go, hey, what is this? I said, what? It's my name tag. They said, who is Mike Ski? And I said, me. And they said, No, who gave you that? I said, the office did. They said, who? I said, I don't know. Whoever was in the office with the little clicker thing to make the label. And they said, no, no, no. Get in there and get a new name tag. And I said, can I put Mike? And they said, yeah, but Mike is not my name. That's my satanic grooming name, Big Mike, who fights back against 5 adults molesting him. No, my name is my child. That's my real name. All right. So the moral of the story is they said you cannot work anywhere under a false name. You have to use your real name. So there it is. There's the evidence. You have to use your real name. That goes for all of y'all. Says. All right. So here they are. They look cool. Bing, bang, boom, bomb, boom, bang. And all of them are great. They're all the they're all the best I've ever heard. This one bothers me the most because it goes through the most circuit. But I did mess with it as you heard the other day. And I was like I put like uh, minus volume, plus plus tone, plus plus just drive. And then I switched around a little bit the other way, and then I have to turn the tone up more when I do that, when I turn the drive down. But it does get a nice transparency when it's on at lower volumes. It's like good to make it sound like a very pushed amp at a very low, what they call bedroom volume. So and I did put the gold around there, and I left my writing KLY -01. I don't know if that's the only one that says that, but mine says special one. And if you remember, these diodes are like all they must maybe I'm not saying they must, but maybe I'm trying to get the lighting right. Maybe they tested them out or something because they were all warped, and I'm like, oh no, look at these things. These are seconds. You can see it. It's like humps, like a little maggot. But they work good. They sound great, and it's very low gain. I think they knew that's what I would like. It does drive. It does drive actually hard now that my taste is getting better. So there you go, and then go around. So it goes fuzz DS2, which is not. It's way better. So even though I name them, it gives you an idea, maybe of the circuit, I guess. But they sound way better than they of them than I ever heard. And yes, I'm gonna write on these. Some will write with black pen, and some of the ones that are harder to see, like these darker colors over here, I'll write with like I did here with the silver. So fuzz, DS1, DS2, DS1, OD1, which sounds way better than an OD1, and way clearer than a tube screamer. Also, you know, get a lot of treble and hollowness. It gets all the knocking tones and the microphonics out of the pickup, so it doesn't color it too much. That's what that threshold trim pot is for. But you know, you don't want to turn that up too much because then it's just like, you might as well be a radio antenna. Start picking up TV shows or something. Um, so then this is the Klondike or Klon, right? And it's modeled after the very first one. However, those diodes were actually, to me, they seemed like they were very select. I guess somebody knew, said, "Hey, give them these ones." And maybe somebody laughed, like, "Yeah, give them those rotten ones. We can't give those to anybody else." But the person who put them in there probably knew. I'd be like, "Oh, let me test them. Oh, all right, let me put them in, and oh, they sound good." So they do. They sound great, whether it was inadvertent or not. So then this is the compressor, optical compressor. So I'm gonna have to write that on there, compressor with the silver marker, like I did the fuzz. Compressor. I'll try to do it neat in one swipe without going over it and over it again. And that's why I want to wait for these to dry for several days so that the marker just lays on there nice and metallic. And then the clean boost with, I didn't say I invented it, but I suggested it, and boop, there it was. It came out with it like a couple days later, and I was like, all right. It was expensive. This one was $28, I think. So, but I bought it, and it's only like 10 components. See, couple diodes, couple transistor, couple of electrolytic capacitors, and some resistors. That's it. Pot, switch, battery, LED. So, and then this is a tremolo. I made it green. I know technically a tube screamer is supposed to be green, but I made this one green because I don't know, just supposed to feel earthy. I did put a switch on it. I don't know if I had inadvertently swapped a couple things, but I just didn't like it. It didn't have an earthy feel to it, and it could have been pushed further, which it will go into ticking, like an oscillating ticking if I bury it, but you don't do that. Just turn it up to the point where it's functional. And for the whole entire sweep, it actually, that's what this, where is it? Where I put it? Oh, there it is. Right there. That little shrink wrapped harness. That's two different resistors coming off the same leg there. And that's what that switch does. And, less resistance. That would be my first self figured out mod. I was like so proud of myself. I was like, hey, exactly what I meant to do. It worked. Probably if that was carbon composition resistor, I don't know in that particular part of the circuit if that would help to wool up the sound a little more, but it sounds good. It was a good mod. I think that this light resistor, diode light resistor, and the diode, light diode, emitting diode, should have been this circuit. But I guess those opto amps that you would have found in some things were hard to get. But I would have. I want to try. I did see online they were saying you got to find where the oscillating resistors are, where it causes it to go into oscillation. If I can figure that part of the circuit out, I'm not very smart, but I try. Then maybe I can do that, but it probably would require some changes in other values, which I'm not very skilled to know. And then this is the delay, which you can't even see the whole circuit. Nick said that is the best one, and I made one that was very, very good. And then I gave it to David because David's very nice. He said I'm the most grounded person he ever met, ever. First he said, I think you might be, and then he said, no, you know what? You're the most grounded person I ever met. And that mattered a lot. And he hugged me and he cried a little. He said, you're a good person, bro. And I was like, here, bro, I want you to have this delay pedal. I don't think he was trying to get the delay pedal. Oh, bad news, that guitar was stolen. It was stolen. Anyway, that's another whole story. I donated it to the homeless shelter where there's a lot of good people. It's called a warming center, but there's a lot of good people there, very kind. They give you the shirt off their back, and both of those came from people that were struggling, and I wear it very proudly. So I donated the guitar because some of those guys rock very, very skillfully, and some so and so's took off with the guitar, and I did see one for sale in Tom's River on Craigslist. I would hope it's not the same one, but I definitely had the original pickguard and original pickups in the box there, and I put a cable, I put drumsticks, and then some so and so stole it. So, but what can you do? So then here's the wah pedal. So and I do like batteries. I do, and I tried rechargeable batteries. I have some in here, for my. But these are 1,300 milliamps, which is good, but it's not. It turns everything analog into a radio antenna. Like this thing squeals like a like an animal, and it becomes a little too hot, and it actually becomes like a Geiger counter. It'll actually pick up like radiation and stuff, and be like, which was I was like, wow, why is there so much radiation by my apartment door? Like that's mad suspicious. What I know why. But and then we saw those videos where you could actually see the radiation moving across the screen, and I was like, oh look, you can see the radiation. And then it would just turn off. Like that's not normal. And they bragged about that. They told me they were just chemotherapying me, and I felt very sick from it. But it's part of their mind control stuff. It's not cool. Those little girls, that one little girl who was saying, the loud sounds, the traffic sounds, and how mean people are being. It hurts so much, and she can't concentrate because she can't sleep. And they were like, "Oh, she has ADHD, and oh, she needs to be medicated." There's nothing wrong with those children, bro. These people are liars and abusers. So, yeah, these are very clean transistors, very clean headroom. But I think I can get a little more vocal growl. I do have this here. It's ready to go. You hear that? Did you hear how loud that was? This electrostatically projected in my wall. It's not thin walls. They torture me every day and night. I hardly get any sleep, and it's not my fault. I'm trying to muscle up to go shopping. They have my hot water turned off right now. She and some other people have a, like Club Penguin. They have a rheostatic control to a hot coil to my hot water. They can instantly turn it on. The other day when I was going to go out, I dressed, I didn't take a shower, I didn't do my dishes in it because I couldn't. There was no hot water. I said, I'm not washing with cold water again. And as soon as I was about to go out, I went to rinse my hands and they immediately turned on the hot water. Like, because they want to do this psychic experimentation where my hands are under the water and they're gradually turning it up so they can get a feel, so they can mess with me in my sleep. And that's not cool, man. And these children are not crazy. They're not crazy. These children know. They know. They're not stupid. Stop telling them they're schizophrenic and mentally imbalanced, chemically imbalanced, and that's just satanic grooming, and that's not cool, man. All right, so I want to get a bunch of these metal film. They call it Styroflex. There is some truth to like something that's kind of like a piece of foil that's floating in a suspension of something that's very has some porosity to it and certainly some girth and some size. There is something to that. So I know that from amplifiers, just from trying different stuff. So yeah, I shouldn't have welded those as close. I could actually see the shellac melting on the corner of this when I was heating it. These are the good ones though. Look how they are. They're like the bottom is like shellacked paper. And it's not like that stuff they tell you about that cracks. I mean, it could crack, yeah, but these were like, they almost seemed like they were made brand new. These two, and they had paste on them. These labels seemed like they were new. They say H. Henry's, 10,000 Henry's, which supposedly is, zero point 0.01. And they say MIAL, MIL. Supposedly I can change this one from 68K, put a couple and put a switch. So you can do a volume increase or put a pot there. But if I did put a little pot or a little screw pot, I'd probably want to put one on the outside that I could reach. Yeah, I should have put it. That's what I was going to do. I was going to do that. I was going to do that with a buffer, but rather than the buffer, maybe I should just do that and put the selector right here because that's what that space was for. And then, yeah, I saw that one. What was it called? A Smithers wah mod, and they had which did they mod? They mod this, all the values. I don't think it's these. I think it's this last one here that goes up and around to this resistor that goes to ground and reconnects in the loop all the way back to the beginning. So it's a little different in different wah circuits, depends which one. But, a bunch of those would be on here. And then the other mod they did was this one. It was a vocal mod on here. So I would want maybe two more knobs up here, two more selector switches to change this so-called parallel resistor to the inductor, which creates, the way the inductor warps or grabs the signal or sags out and then blooms it back out. It becomes different, so the reaction of the pedal becomes different. And this does do the vocal range more so, but this one would do the volume. So maybe three small knobs up here. 1, 2, 3, like volume. Wait a minute. Yeah, because I got this down here, so I don't need that. So it'll be two knobs up here. So this one will be for volume. I don't know how that would affect the sound to put a little potentiometer or pot in there. I don't want to affect the sound too much because it's nice old carbon composition resistors here. And they have a certain, I know they look new, don't they? Like they were just made. That's what I put that one in there. It's very possible that they were just made, huh? They look brand new. The paint looks new. And they weren't that oxidized and they were very well taken care of. Like I said, you could see the contact cement on this one. You could still see it right there. Like these labels were just glued on there. And anyway, so a pot for that. right? It's like a volume to give more volume going into the effect, not a buffer out with a volume. I don't care about that. And then, yeah, maybe I'd put a bigger one down diagonally or up, and then the volume, make it so there's room there. And that will be for a couple different values here, which is a 33K, which would be what, 3,300, I don't know what you call it, microfarads or nanos or who knows. It's like upside down letters. I don't know. I just glue stuff together. Let's see, that's a 33K. And this is what I did. I wrote it all out so you could trace the paths. And there are some variations on what goes where or how it goes around or what it skips before it comes over here. There are a couple variations on basic wah circuits. So I've learned this circuit better than any circuit so far, which, is kind of cool. But anyway, you could change this 33, which is resistance, in parallel, right? I guess it soaks or prevents some of the electrical signal from, going to these to ground. And no, that doesn't go to ground there. Yeah, that goes to the other side of this. I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to think about how that works. I guess it becomes a part of the voltage soak of this magnetic coil. It creates supposedly its own magnetic field. Um, I'm not sure how it works exactly. I glued it together, but so 33K, and then if I put higher values, it changes the way that it works. Like some people say about 57 is like what most people like. That means it would probably be too much for me. I like it like it is now, but it's not very clean. It has a good vocal quality. I set the pot range where I want it, so that the way it sweeps. But that was the other thing I was looking at, pot values. But I do like this long sweep. You've seen me mess with it on the other pedal. That one was way more vocal, the one that I left at so and so's house. But God bless America. God bless everybody. But yeah, you could change that 33, maybe 48, maybe 57. And then put like a little three-way selector up here, like right, and then this one will have a pot to increase how much signal based on what instrument I'm using is going in here. But I do have it wired for true bypass, so to equivalate that. But I don't know how much it's going to affect this circuit. It would send more distortion to this first. It would send more distortion to this first transistor here. I don't know if that distortion would make it to the final transistor. I mean, I'm sure in some context, because this whole thing is kind of a loop. But anyway, that's what I was working on, and the neighbors are complaining about me, and they're talking about me, and they're harassing me, and they shut off my hot water, and they were knocking at my walls and trying to get a psychic feel on me. They're pervs. It's very angering. Yeah, that's supposedly me in this photo. I have an identical twin. The guitar and that amp and that pedal were taken. I don't remember being that skinny. I was not that skinny, but I did pose for this photo, so my face looks altered. It also looks altered in the yearbook. Yes, that's one of Youngblood's relatives. If you know, Youngblood plays drums. Bloke. I don't talk like that. Yes, he's got the British thing right there. That's Glenn, but one of them was one of the Phineases. I don't know if it's the one in this other photo here, but terrible things happened in that house, and it was very satanic. And then things happened later again. This is the real Tony Gennati. If you see, he's got like a blown out hip and Garbage Pail Children on his. I didn't say kids. I don't like to say kids. Garbage Pail Children on his guitar, and a blown out hip there. As you can see, it's like a strange posture. But I guess that's the real Tony Gennati, the real Glenn DePaul. I don't know what their real names were, but I remember what he said to me about that old mongoose bicycle. He's like, "That's it. That's the one that started all. It's the first one." And I was like, "Yes. So why don't we go get it out of the weeds?" He's like, "No, that's where I want it." And now there's like feral cat houses there for the cats that got abandoned, when the families moved away. So I guess that was the real one. One of them was nice to me. The other people were not nice to me, and they did very horrible things to me. There's the Jonas cousin. My daughters know about that. They've been told to be silent about a lot of things. So-called witness protection, turn children into liars and schizophrenic and what have you. You know, yeah, they look better now. Now I know just by looking at them. These ones aren't very different though. I might do a little different here. I'm not sure. This one's kind of dark brown, almost looks black. Maybe I just put some streaks through it of another color to kind of soften the look of it. Same with that green, but maybe they'll lighten up as they dry. But now I know what they are just by looking at them, but I'm going to write it on there anyhow. Oh, you want to see that picture again? All right, sure. Yeah, it's evidence, right? Let me get out of the glare, though. There is no getting out of this glare. Yeah, see, the face is grossly altered there. I remember having this picture took, but that's clearly not me. I'm not that skinny, bro. I never was that skinny, ever. But they did take my guitar. Oh, you want to see the other picture? What may be one of the Phineas's? I don't know. They bragged about Phineas used to having the long, crazy hair. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. But I don't know. They weren't very nice to me, some of these guys. But I don't know. Maybe that's Glenn. No. Oh, you want to see it closer? Sure. Let me zoom in for you. Yeah, cranial facial will get that, huh? Is that correct? Because I can't see it that good. That well. All right. So that's supposed to be Tony Gennati there with a perm do. I don't know. Yeah, supposedly the stuff was recovered from a fire. That's not Youngblood, but that face looks altered, doesn't it? His nose looks altered. You could tell he's related, though. That's supposedly Joe Thiel, but there may have been, 2 or 3 different doppelgangers. One was married to Kelly Mills, which reminds me of. I don't remember what she looks like too much, but she reminds me of like the Avril Lavigne's and or some of the Halsey girls or something. And that's supposedly me, but I mean, if you look at that hair, it clearly doesn't look like my hair. I did go in there with my guitar, but I was unconscious. There were satanic things done to me. That is me there. That's my buddy there. But he, I don't know where he went. I don't know who was in that coffin, but it wasn't him. And I guess this is one of his brothers. Because it doesn't look quite the same, does he? Maybe that's the real one. Maybe that's the one that was in the coffin. Supposedly one of them was, these are all witness protection or Project Fedora generational names like Mazinski and Die7 and Die Savinsky. There's one of the Fred Scribners. There was a few doppelgangers. But I remember what he played that day. And then I pointed at Lamont Holt, and then he supposedly died. But they had done something to me in that house, and I don't think it was the same guy because he was very nice to me. I'm thinking maybe he had a twin brother or somebody who looked very similar to him. Yeah, it was one of those houses I was in with one of those women who was drugging and raping me and trafficking my children. I miss you. I love you. Oh, my children. And more people possibly with doppelgangers. His drumming. That's where part of the feel for Youngblood comes from. My stumble was based on things he taught me because other drummers would mock him. They'd be like, he has no wrist. And I'll be like, yeah, I know. And listen to it. He's like so blues, bro. He would wave his hand in the air and count like 1, 2, 3, and ting, 3, and 2, ping. He would like wave his hand wildly and he would make the most, grossest drum faces. Now there. See, that looks like a hairpiece on that brother there, but here is, and they reversed guitars. He took the Stratocaster. There's Fred. I remember when I hugged Fred, he was very frail and fragile, and he's like, I love you, buddy. And I was like, wow, You're so frail. He's like, yeah, easy, don't hurt me, bro. Whilst the other one was a very, well, there's more than one. They were very big people, but the real one was a very small guy. Here's my child, Anthony Seven. Supposedly it's this fellow here, and he's playing on an odd guitar, which is way out of his usual. Probably just swapped. I was drugged and hypnotized here, but I slightly remember that haircut, and I remember being there, and I remember that guitar. That guitar went for like 150 or 125. It was American Strat. I paid $700 for that guitar. I worked so hard on a moving truck to get that guitar. Here, this guitar was stolen. That's the one they keep talking about. Dream big. It just meant aspiration. That's all it meant. It didn't mean psychic nighttime torture. It meant dream big. It says it in the back. There's one of my children. There. I love that one. Had the light up shoes. They were all slightly belligerent because they were taught to. I sat in with a band called Soul for Sale. Their lyrics were derogatory, but they seemed to dig my bass playing. And Mike, the bass player, who used to date one of my little doppelganger cousins, who I think I recently saw on Broadway in Newburgh, and is clearly not the same Bridget that's an adult. But he had a busted arm and he was very bent. He's like, all right, take it easy, take it easy. How you think I'm feeling? You got my spot, because I did their gigs and stuff. I guess he felt bad about it, but I appreciated him letting me play the bass. And I certainly wasn't showing off. That's how I play. It's not an act. I feel it. I like that, you see, like, it's not anger. Like, people used to say, oh, you're scary looking. I'll be like, bro, if you drive a race car and you're shifting it, are you like, sitting there very meekly and saying doty doty do? No, you're like shifting it with gritted teeth, and that's how you play. Yeah, I was pulling it off like he used to do. He used to do the same. You could see super chank style, no pick, cha-chang, chang, 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 like I do up in the neck. He taught me a lot of stuff. Yeah, he did. He taught me a lot of stuff. That was very soulful. It's not like yeah, there's one of his doppelgangers. That's got to be one of his doppelgangers. Is that him? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Is that him? They do look a little different, don't they? Sometimes people look different, but yeah. Craniofacial. Ching. Yeah, look at that mustache. What's up with that? Yeah, one of them was very derogatory. He used to refer to his old lady derogatory and refer to me derogatory, and he'd take stuff from me. But this guy, I think this was a different person, and he was certainly more passive. I was unconscious sometimes when he was around. It wasn't seance stuff, though. I think some things were allowed to happen to protect me from some satanic stuff that was happening, but it's very heavy to talk about. If I had remembered or realized what the Nike or red-tipped missile represented, I probably never would have drew that. But the whole point was just like blasting away. And then Joe put that in there. I'm like, bro, why would you? He said, because that empty space was bothering me. I'm like, bro, this is my drawing. Can't you see like how much time I did? It was just to put energy into it. It wasn't like witchcraft. It was like the antithesis of witchcraft. I didn't care what the picture was so much. It was just something I had thought about. Considerate planet, And then I wrote Considerate Planet. But the songs on there weren't great. Apparently, I don't watch the news. I love that little boy. But they said that those songs were very great. And people referenced them constantly. And apparently some of my tracks were stolen and used for bed tracks. I certainly know Youngblood. What's 63 countries, #1. That's my. I can't do it with one hand. Let's see. No, I can't do it. I gotta put the phone down. Hold on. I don't have to prove it. my drumming and my guitar playing. And then they even said, "Oh, Tom Morello helped us on that recording. His name's Alan or Alex or something. He talked with a fake Hispanic accent, and you know, he plugged into this pod thing into the web or whatever, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, just keep doing that." And I was like, "Bro, don't steal my patterns, you know." And he's like, "No, no, no, I just didn't play along with you." But he wasn't playing along with me. He was trying to, psychically mirror me to learn that stumble, that on guitar, which is like the transfer of hands and the slap down and the palm and the pick and the pluck, and it kind of creates a triplet in there, which was like only one of them, because it was like all patterns I would do on there, whatever. It was like on the one, kind of thing, and sometimes maybe change, and they stole it and they put stupid lyrics on it, and it's number one in 63 countries, and they brag about the hook, being so valuable, and they said, "Oh yeah, I think Mike was on that recording too," which, maybe one of them is named Machado, but that was a definite mock at me, and Tom Morello. That's all that guy kept talking about was Tom Morello. And I'm like, why you keep talking about Tom Morello, bro? I don't. It's not even a real name, and I don't even know who that is or care. I just wanted to play music. As you can see, Joe Robert is took that picture, and yes, it looks a little three dimensional sometimes with certain lighting on it. But I've been around. I've been around. And a lot of bad things and some good things. But I remember what he played on that guitar, and I remember what pedal I had. And he's like, "This pedal is great, man." I think he wanted it, and I was like, He didn't ask for it though. I probably should have gave it to him back then. I didn't give away as much as I did recently, but he he's got like a members only jacket on or something. I don't even know who took that picture. It accidentally was taken by my phone, which never recorded the music supposedly. It wasn't a phone; it was a camera. It was what was the camera called? Not a Nikon, um, Hitachi or Nikishi or something. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, yeah, he's like, "Man, this pedal," and I remember I was like, "Well, no, no, you didn't turn it on 12." He's like, "Yeah, you turn it on 12," and he did. He turned it on 12. It had the Analog Man mod, silver mod. It was a it was a the blue one, a BD2 with an analog mod. And yes, it definitely reacted different. And he turned that thing on 10 and dug in. And I was saying, not here I was singing something else, but I was saying, "Room full of mirrors," and I was just vamping. They call it vamping. I don't vamp. I'm not a vampire. I was comping on it, just, it's my friend's music, right? I don't know how it goes, and they would never play it the same way twice necessarily, but he just busts out this exact riff and the scream that came out of that pedal. He's like, "Oh yeah," I remember the look. He looked at me, he's like, "This pedal, man." And uh and he was going, "Where what is it, and I was like, "There's in a room full of mirrors, all I could see was me." And I mean, he picked right up. Like, it was a pleasure to play with him, and it's kind of weird how, like, the other guys, they didn't like me and they let me play with like one of the best guitar players there, but I guess they were just like too particular and knowledgeable and fancy, and he kind of plays like I do, like kind of like very sketchy and almost like a little rotten. See, there's that right there, right? Oh yeah, I'll show you that exact hand actually. Let's see. I know he was so upset that I colored this because it was him, and he's like, "You ruined it, brother." But I did. I colored it because I was embarrassed because I looked so weak and wore out. I mean, I've had a horrible life. Turns out here I was probably about 14 and a half, maybe just going on 15. I'd actually got out of the Coast Guard. Honorable discharge from the Coast Guard, which is another whole story. I was sexually abused in there as well. Horrible nudity and homosexuality and bad things happened in there. But I think some people helped me out in there when that soap hit the floor and I went unconscious. I think there was a lot of so and so's with flying fists going on, but it all got covered up, you know. Yeah, that's a road star. It got broke. There he's, you know, that hand, just like that. And, you know, I never copied him. He used to show me stuff. He'd be like, all right, so basically, you know, down four, and you could do this and then put what you think in there. You know, doesn't matter. You'll figure it out. And then sometimes I'll be like, no, 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 I want to know that one thing. And I remember he turned his back and he said, get your own patterns, brother. And I really appreciated that he did that, because it was like, you know, he wasn't giving me stuff. He was teaching me by helping me to think for myself, you know, but not being in a mean way. and and I did, you know. And then before I last saw him, he's like, here, brother, I'll show you that pattern. I take off from the high E string when other guys dig in with that you know, so-called Chuck Berry pattern with that little quarter bend, that little suggestive. He says, I take off from the high E string is why my scrambled egg sounds different. And then he proceeded to go to show it to me, and I was like, nope, 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 nope. And I turned my head. I was like, I don't want your patterns, bro. And then that was one of the last times I saw him. And then he said, all right, let me show you this then. And he showed me, you know, the little ghost bend thing that I always do, which was the way he connected the major to the minor, which is what I liked about his playing so much. You know, it's what I liked about his playing so much. Those were brothers. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's gig. Red Rock, brother. Where's Freddie? Mike's Fender. Where's Freddie Coleman? I added that part. What, yeah, Freddie Coleman's gone funny on me. I don't know which is Fred and Ed or Brian. I don't know what's going on there. But there's some definite doppelgangers there. Doppelganging dogs, too. This dog is not the same dog that was there. It was a different dog. What had two different dogs. What had broken, bent backs. And he's like, no, no, he's always been like that since he was born. I'm like, no, no, no. I got videos of this dog. It's not the same dog. And one had pink paws and the other had black paws. And then there was this one. So I don't know what's going on there. And they were making jokes about how the harness was getting looser and how somebody was moving the seat in his car. And I'm like, wow. Next thing I know, he's saying, oh, you don't like that little touch under your balls? And I was like, no, bro. And I don't like it under my children either. What the, you know? And I was like, bro, you're nuts. Like, you know what? I said, will you help me look for my children? Can you look at photos with me and help me make a list? And he's like, no. And he yells at me. And I'm like, wow. You know, like, what kind of brother's that, right? I give the guy like a supposedly $2,000 guitar, and you know, give him the shirt off my back. I'd give him anything, you know. And but I guess I was dealing with doppelgangers there too. You know, this is a doppelganger. That's not Kelly Gillis. That's Stacy. And Nick said not Nico, and not Nico's brother, who has brother George, which turns out there's two more brothers. But the one that was very nice to me, he said, my family knows her very well. That's Stacy. You're not mistaken. That's not Kelly Gillis. That's Stacy. I said, she's very wealthy and she's very nice. He said, she did come from a very wealthy family on the Upper East Side, and she is very nice. And that's not Kelly Gillis. Even though Kelly Gillis sent me that picture and said it was one of her photos. It's doppelgangers, you know. They call it switching or hive mind or sorority brain or whatever they want to call it. It's not good. These are the other pedals I wanted, and I haven't found them yet. A flanger, a chorus was supposed to show up in the mail, but it didn't. I don't know what happened. I'll try to find out. A univibe, but I want it with that center control, and I want it subtle and not over soaked like the aqua vibe. And I gave that away too. Yes, I did, but I want to make one. Oops, it fell off. That's good. Yeah, that center control. Like you could set it so that the bulb or the resistor was reacting before. You hear that traffic? That's crazy, right? That's called sound on sound and electrostatic sound convection. It's not normal. Hear that? That's crazy. That's what the little girl was crying about, and they told her she had ADHD and she had problems studying in school because she couldn't sleep, and people were, you know, making her afraid, right? Crowd control and ultrasonic sounds and sound on sound and all. I don't get into the bad stuff. Stay on the good stuff for a moment. but it had that center control, which would put the resistance before the light bulb, or the light bulb's recovery before the resistance, which would kind of how the signal would soak, and it would stretch the figure eight. It would make it sound different. It was a center control, which could be a trim pot in some of the other ones. But I remember somebody said, "Oh, I don't like the Aqua Vibe. It was you know, too subtle." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's why it was the best sounding one. I tried four different ones. They got stolen, but one of them I sold to Maxime from Brooklyn, and the other two, one was traded, and then the stereo one was stolen. But the Aquavibe I gave to David because I like David, and David hooked me up with that fine guitar at one point, um, which sadly got stolen. And then somebody wrote about it on the Aquavibe. They wrote on the interweb. They said it's actually more hi-fi, and then somebody said, "Yeah, I know. That's what I can't stand about it." And I was like, "That's what I can stand about it." It's like these pedals, like that high and that chank and that chunk and that knock on the back of the neck and the thump of the thumb, and whether you're playing up on the neck or down by the bridge, gets through so much more. And if there's any microphonics, it gets through so much more with all that fidelity. But yet it was very round. It wasn't sharp and peaky and horrible. It wasn't perfect fidelity. It was, subtle. It was good. Now this phone says 51 minutes. I'm not 51 years old, and that's clearly not 51 minutes. It says it's going on 52 minutes. They're crazy. It's crazy. I got older devices that'll show half that time, and I'll put that on YouTube. And I did. Anyway, so I wanted to get a chorus, which is in the mail. It's supposedly very good sounding, but it's more based on the CE2, but with true bypass, but a little more select components. So maybe it does get that clarity. The one I had, I liked a lot. What was it called? It was a $39 course. What was it called? But it had those SMD components, and I said, "There it is, bro. There, it's perfect sounding, except for the high and the low end is lacking. It's because there's nothing for it to bloom in. It's just tiny, tiny components. It just can't bloom in there. I could be wrong, but I'm not." So an octave, and then there it was, just like this pedal. I had the idea, and then somebody posted it, but it's not yet available. Supposedly it's going to be made by the same company. Supposedly it's going to be available. I go, "Oh man, I hope I can get it through the AliExpress T-Tone Lantone," but I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to keep that a secret, but I don't keep secrets. The police called me a snitch, a rat, and a tattletale. So there you go. Top that. Um, Yeah, because they're corrupt, bro. They're corrupt. And I'm not negative. They're corrupt, bro. They told me to leave the police alone. Bro, the police are supposed to be looking for my children, not preventing me and harassing me and pulling up next to me and throwing me gang symbols and sticking their hand in their shirt, doing Napoleonic hands and posturing with their guns and their gun clips and gesturing like they're gonna harm me, and threatening to beat me up and kill me and genuinely beating me up and hurting me. That's not cops. Whatever. Let's get back to the positive. So the octave pedal would have octave up, maybe with fuzz on, fuzz off, just to get that. Because I always liked, even on the so-called full tone site, right? He had the demo for his very first octave pedal thing, right? And it was that ring modulation, like if your battery was dying in your favorite old-fashioned distortion pedal, or you were playing through a little amp and something was going wrong, or the tubes were failing, and you'd begin that bang, 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 bang. And that's how he demoed it. And I was like, cool, man. At first I was like, wow, that sounds weird. And then like the more I listened to it, I realized that the demo was beautiful because it was showing exactly, like for instance, I don't like the lyrics. I can't stand those lyrics, man. But there it is again, my friend's music, right? Blue on black, and he does that solo on top of it. That's up on the wood of the fretboard on a Stratocaster, I believe. Sounds like, uh, usually in the neck position with those octave up pedals, right? And less fuzz, or at least digging in hard enough to bypass the fuzz and catch the ring modulation effect before. And then when you do those bends, right? You got the ghost bend, the little country bend. You go, and then this one stays as a drone note while that one goes down. when that ring modulation goes, you'll actually hear a note going up underneath it. So it'll be like instead of going right, you'll hear which is weird, and that's what it does. That's what that effect does. So I kind of wanted one of those with the double octave down that's not polyphonic, that does not track chords. This is set subtly because I remember he told me, he's like, no, bro, you don't you don't turn them all the way up, bro. You set them subtle just to thicken up your tone. He had the old one, the octave or the brown. Then the flanger, just to get that filter sound. But I think a chorus that could be slowed down would do exactly what I would want a flanger for. But there are certain flanger sounds that are fun. I like the full tone idea of the choral flange, chorale, flangy, right? That's a good ideal to have two in one like that. But then yeah, the aqua vibe with that center control, bro, and that a little bit of quality fidelity, not too much. And then a filter, right? Not an auto wah that has a timer on it, but a filter. Like and I like to set it. I like that the MXR again with those SMD components. The high end and the low end, it sounded so peaky, and the low end wasn't as bad, but the treble on the low end wasn't there, so it was like little mud, which was fine when you're bubbling, but when you dig in and you want to hear that low note, it couldn't do it because of those little SMD components. I know it was made for a bass, but I mean, you could just change a resistor in there to get the sensitivity a little more to get the guitar, and it was voiced just fine for what I wanted. The bright end was a little too much, but I like that it had 5 knobs, including a mix, which was awesome because you could almost just subtle the effect, bury the effect, subtle it, and then you're gating. I forget what they were called. One was called Q, and the other was called decay, right? How fast it will close and how fast it will quack, right? And you set the quack depending how fast you're playing. You set the quack kind of slow if you want it to go, right? And if you're playing a little faster passages, you got to turn it up a little so you get to, and then the decay, you set the decay slower, which is kind of the same thing that this uh, center knob would do on this Univibe. It would change the collapse and the reactive time. So yeah, and I like that it had 5 knobs on it, but it didn't sound good. And then there was a whole thing, you probably saw that, what was not very good with the MXR guy. He was not very nice, and I don't even want to look at it. MXR pedal again, although I want my old script logo back or the old 100 because I never got to try it, that I got from my friend before it got stolen whilst I was hypnotized and being raped. But let's get back to positive things, shall we? A Wawa. Oh, there it is. But I did want to do a better circuit, and it would be cool to have 2 circuits. 1, 2 circuits, and then make the circuit switchable. But I think better to just have switches. For this, and this. Well, they say you can change that too, but I don't think it's necessary because I've heard these other mods, and they do make a big difference. And I did see somebody was selling 27. What are these? 0.22 or 0.022? I wrote it down here. 0.22. There's people selling 0.27 in these old cap styles, polyester, whatever that is, polypropylene. This all seems to matter, like in the construction and the sound and the porous substrate. Elements do heat and things do react, and there's certain recovery and decay and all that, and different effects. But I mean, different components. But anyway, so that's what I wanted. But I don't guess it's ever. I guess I don't know if I'm gonna lose my life or what. But they're saying they want to lock me up in a jail now. They want to put me back in a mental asylum and force injections on me until I'm dead. I'm not mentally ill, bro. I want my children back. Clearly, my children exist. That child there. Here, let's do some more cranial facial for you, shall we? That child there, all right, although she has the setback teeth, is not this child. Oh, over here, this one. Yeah. Gotta get up on the amp here. Is not that child, although they do look related, right? But not the same child. Then this one, I don't know. That one looks like Isaiah, but I don't know who Isaiah is. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But those some photos were sent to me, but these are children that were in my presence. I took this photo, right? That child is not either of those children, nor is this child any of those. Although, there is some quality relation. Yeah, and they all had that weird hair, right? Like it was like, and they were bullied, bro. But they're my children, and I love them. I mean, I did good, kind things. I said some mean things to a couple of them because they were being very cruel to me, and people were drugging me and raping me. Bad things were happening, and the children were involved in it. They were involved in the Satanism. Strange stuff. Yeah, look at the length on that one. That one is clearly not that one, right? Oh, cranial facial recognition programs. Uh-oh, that one is that one that one? I don't know. I don't know. Can't see much of them there, huh? The phone sure saw it. See, there's no hump in that dog's back. See, nice and meaty. It wasn't born with it. It wasn't the same dog. I don't like being gaslighted. Yes, this is a girl that was at Speedway. She's a good girl. But yes, you can clearly see that's altered. Gummo bragged about messing with my photos. He went into yeah, that's altered also. I think we might have been holding hands at one point in that photo. See, they were switching children around and telling me I was delusional. They told me I had Capgras disease. They told me I had no concept of time or people. That's supposedly Kelly Gus there. I put that blue tape on her shirt there because I don't feel like looking at her breasts. All right. Turned out not to be that nice. She was a very sick person involved in some bad stuff, I guess. But God bless her anyhow. Not the same person as the one I remember that was kind to me, but I never saw that little boy again. There's some of the guitars that my friend made. That is me in that photo. And that is my little brother in that photo. I remember that actually. But apparently I have an identical twin. My real father is not, he's not 87 years old. That's crazy. And he's not. He's about 50. I don't know which one is which, but he's about 58 years old. So I'm not messing around anymore. I'm tired of the nonsense. And I want my children back. And that's not all of them. And then these were pictures that were sent to me. It's a lot of children. Like that little girl is clearly not any of the other little girls, right? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket genius, right? This photo's altered. Yes, Gummo was from the Vandermark family, and he claimed he wanted the children to sleep at night. So he went into my files on my phone, deleted pictures of my children and evidence whilst people was carting me away saying I was delusional. I think that's the one with the little blue bicycle and the one I got the trampoline for, but I don't know for sure. That photo looks slightly shaded or altered maybe, but I think that's who she is there, right? You could see that these aren't the same people. I'm not stupid. And yes, some of those children were with me. Yes, those are twins. One is very nice and one is not nice. And there was more than that. There was about 6 of them who all claim to be the same person. Yeah, look, child molesters, right? It's always about exposing a little pee-pee or poo-poo or fucking faggots. But my grandmother made that for me and I love her. And God forgive me and have mercy on me for cussing. I'm sorry for cussing. My friend gave me this shirt. He was raped and molested his whole life. He used to get locked in a dungeon in the basement and beaten for reporting that he was being raped at home. He would get beaten when the police would come and they said, no, nobody's raping that boy. And then he'd leave and they'd beat him and they'd throw him in the basement without food and torture him viciously, welt him up and rape him with implements. And he gave this to me. Yeah, he's listed as a so-and-so, whatever. this is how the world doesn't work, bro. I shouldn't even snicker or laugh. It's crazy. But anyway, I think there's enough good and bad in this video to watch it. Oh yeah, here, yeah, I showed you that already. This would like to make another one and make it look exactly like that. Super clean. Yeah, this one. See, and now the capacitors in front instead of the 68K in front. That's one of the variations. Then the other variation is these two here, and then what? Oh, where's the other one? It's lacking. Where is it? It's actually, what is it? What is the other value? 100. There's that one. Here it is. Here, right? Oh no, that one's already there. Something's missing from there that got switched around. Oh, here it is. Here. I just changed the way that's around there, but it isn't just changed. The way the circuit runs is different, which would alter the sound and change things. Something over here. No, nothing over here was different, I don't think. But that was different, and that was different, and the values were different. This is 100K instead of 33K, and then that's 4 instead of 4.7 with a directional, what do you call it? Polarized. Yeah, polarized capacitor. 68K, that's the same, but in different position, which matters. I read something on it, which I don't, breadboard or know how. I don't know anything about it. I just glue stuff very well. Would be that, resistance before capacitance. Same thing as that center knob was doing, just to this and the decay knob and the Q, whether it was releasing the capacitance faster or slower or resisting it slower, the direction would change the way the character of this wah pedal would work, right? Everything else looks the same here. That's different. 470, that's the same. 1.5, that's the same. That's different. It's 82K is what I have in my basic wah circuit. Maybe it makes it a little hotter. I don't know. This 100K way different. That's supposed to be the one that sounds more like a trumpet, right? This would be the one you put variables on. They say you can variable these two, but I think this would be the one to put the variables on. And I would want to use these Styroflex or poly metallized film, whatever they're called, big breathing room there. It seems to make a difference in the sound. And then these metal cans sound good to me, but some people switch them up. But somebody said to me the other day, they said, yeah, those plastic transistors. And my child used to say the same thing. He'd say, oh, bro, you dig germanium out of the earth with a shovel, bro. Those silicon things are baked in a 2,000-degree oven by a man, and they're like, so consistent they don't breathe. They don't have their own life to them. Oh, is this one the same? Yeah, 1K is the same. 22K is the same. So that's the same basic circuit as this one with some differences. 68K here, 68K there also, yeah. 470, same. 33K different, and you can see the layout is different here, the way it's laid out as well. I'll have to look at it again, how that's working. Kind of hops over there. What's the reason for that? Is this twisted around? No, it's not. See, because the 470 goes to this side into the inductor, whereas this one comes on the outside of the inductor. So that all affects the way that it reacts. That all affects it. 33K is different. It's 100K. A2K is 100K on the other one. 4.7 is 4 on the other one. Are those different? No, it goes into the 470K. This goes here, but the 470K is off of that leg. So yeah, that's a little different. No, that's not different. That's the same. It's just laid out a little different. Everything else there is the same. 10K, 1K, 470K. And for the record, this is 470, not 470K. This is 470 ohms of basic resistance. So that's a big difference. I did make that mistake at one point. Can't swap those two. I mean, you can, but and then 100K, that's the wah pot. Well, it also can be a 200K, a 150K. Changes the color and the sweep and the style of how it reacts, I guess. Like I said, I don't breadboard. I'm not set up to experiment. I'd like to be able to, but I'm not set up. So there it all is. All right, I'm gonna leave that mess because it's nice to look at, except for this. Safety first. Hey. Oh yeah, here it is. Right. I showed you this once before, I think. It's a woman, bro. It's a woman. See if I can zoom in on it. It looking like a woman. Got the big hip like a woman too. Let's see. Wait a minute. It looks like a woman. It does look like a woman, doesn't it? That's Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which I broke it. That proves, well, it doesn't prove anything, but I was in Canada a couple of times and I was tortured there satanically. My little brother may have gotten left there at one point. Long story. The most expensive pen in the world. People know where these come from. 34 calendar days in a solitary confinement with lots of MK Ultra mind control torture, including changing the temperatures and sleep deprivation and sonic abuses. Way worse than what you heard coming out of that wall or that wall. That's about it, I guess. Oh yeah, and I saved this card, Lantone, because the pedals were very good and somebody cared and they were packed very well and they were labeled very well and somebody cared that I had very great sounding pedals provided that I put them together good. And the same with this paint. I put this here. I put this paint thing here because, like, the whole thing with, build the box and it means a lot. It means a lot. I like, the box it comes in becomes the box that carries it, and that's why I made the handle like that with a screw and cyanoacrylate glue. And, I'm trying to save some change. That's about it, I reckon. I'm done talking for now. Yeah, some of this stuff was sassy that was sent to me. And that's why people think I don't have children. They say, you don't have any children. Just stop. Just stop. Yes, I do have children. But, like, this here, they supposedly didn't write cursive. And then they would do like a little thing like that to show me, like, ha ha ha. Whilst, shortly thereafter or before, I would get something written like this. And they all went by the same names. They all went by the same names, which was a woman from Wisconsin who is in her 50s or about pushing 50 right now. And she apparently changed her last name, but she was in satanic pornography. She was what was known as a satanic priestess. Pornography is not a lifestyle choice. It's witchcraft and it's Satanism and it's rooted in drug addiction and child molestation and fraternal rape. So some of these pictures were drawn by the children that were in my presence, like that one, for instance. Oh, then that's the thing. Like the older ones would end up with these things. The same thing happened to me. Like I had one for one of my younger daughters, right? But one of the older ones who says she's my daughter, which she may be also, but she's got multiple doppelgangers. She's hiding out. She's scared for her life too, and so am I. But I don't like this, but I kept it because one of my smaller daughters gave it to me. You know, I think she drew that in my presence. One of them did. That was drawn in my presence. That was drawn in my presence. And then these other witchcraft things, they were sent to me. It's just not normal, right? Well, I got a picture in here. All right, I'll show it to you. You want to tell me that that I'm mistaken, supposedly, right? Like that people weren't messing around, and this is why people say I have no children, and they're angry not because of it. They're angry because they help to traffic children, and they don't want to be caught or exposed. That's why. Where's that thing? Right here. No, it's in here. Hold on a second. I gotta put the phone down for a second. There it is. There it is. All right. Now, how big is the crack in a sidewalk or an oak leaf, right? Compared to a child, right? Crazy photo, right? On photo paper with some kind of date on it, which is incorrect anyway, right? But this is, you know, is it a cut and paste head, or was this an actual child, or is that a boy? Is that one of my sons? I don't know. Time will show, right? God will show. Anybody that tells the truth will show, right? Uh, I was getting turned in by these mental health people who were trying to seduct me. You know, one wanted me to see about her raw chicken and try some taco. And then, I was like, yo, what are you doing? And then there's even video of her grabbing at me, grabbing at my arm like a giddy schoolgirl. I'm wearing a shirt that said Lee. And then she started saying I could have two wires drilled into my head. They're going to drill two small holes in my head. And, of course, these people have tortured me. So I was kind of crying. I'm like, yo, what is going on with everybody? Oh, yeah, right. That's clearly not the same person. What is one of the people that said she was my sister at one point in my life, potentially? Right? Is that this person? I don't think so. I'm not stupid, right? Yeah, this is clearly shaded very heavily, but these are my children. This may be the one that had the hat at the pier. She made a little cameo. She was very sassy, that one. The children were abused. They were abused, bro. They were abused. They sent me these things. I love you, Dad. These Christian things. I mean, this could be a clue. It does have some writing on it, maybe. Let's see. K-Land. I mean, this is wrong to do this to children, right? All these children were not named the same name, right? I mean, that's not cool. That's not cool, right? What I do like this. I do like what was written here. Another year gone by makes one wonder why so many others are gone. Yeah, because the clock's so wrong. How have we lost or have we won? With the right decisions and a love of life, we endure all the strife. Never say nay and never give up. Do unto others as you would have them do unto us. Can criticize no one. I don't choose that word. I do criticize, but judge no one. Praise one and all. I don't agree with that, and appreciate God's judgment call. I disagree with this. When I called there, he was saying, you always seem to escape the system and call me Mr. Felton from now on. And I'm like, oh, who the hell am I talking to? Same thing happened with my brother. We all have a lot to be thankful for this year. Let us all savor it. Please keep up the spirit and think positive. Good things are in the future for those who believe. I remember these drawings. I'm a product of grooming. There's two of these ant. There's other doppelgangers that pretend to be my grandmother. And I mean, I'm not crazy. I'm not stupid. They call it switching or whatever they call it. And it's a shared mentality. This is one of them, a child Anthony's sons, or Tony's son, who's also named Anthony or Nate. But there was others that were called Mike and Chet, probably for a reason, because that was their real name, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, then somebody who said they were my friend, I go on their YouTube and I look at their channel and they said, "Oh no, now you're going to ruin my internet now." And I'm like, "Oh no, everyone's gone crazy," but that would be a gross generalization. Everyone has not gone crazy. Everyone has not gone crazy. This is not me in this photo. This is my little sister. Some of these photos are cobbed, but these rocks were not like this. When I was at this property, this wall was built. That's not me. That may be the skinny one in that guitar photo there, huh? He sure is lanky. My father used to tell me about the nose that started up above the eye socket. I don't know. Can't see too good in there. No, that one doesn't start up too high, but that's not me. That is not me. He does look more related to my little brother, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. That's my little brother and my little sister. That is me. However, like what why am I dressed like that? My father didn't go to church. Church sucks. Church kills people. They ruin people's lives. He would have never sent me to. Maybe that was the day he showed up, when his neck was all busted out, and they wrote this lyric, "Neck is dirty and gritty," and they were making fun of my father for being locked up somewhere or being gone for a long time. I don't know. But, there was possibly some of that grooming there too with the doppelgangers where they do the whole rush in and be the hero thing, like that girl talks about the Schmiegel, like similar but different circumstances. Some other projects I was working on, but this one works. It works. It's, you know, mm, I gotta learn to ground things together better and make ground buses better, but really, people need to stop interfering. They don't need grounds. But this is a little amplifier here, what I never finished. I did wire it up. This is an amplifier, 100 watts, but I never finished it. I'm not sure. It's variable on the voltage. Apparently, you can run to different parts of the circuit or put a switch to it so that you're only getting, one or two or all of them. I plucked the inductor off of this one. That was out of a Vox, modern Vox wah. There's a little delay. I tried to work on it. Doesn't sound very good. Again, with these little SMD components, and possibly this tiny chip had something to do with it as well. Just the smaller, tighter components are not, round enough in their fidelity, and they easily get sucked or draw away quickly and don't bloom and blossom like larger primitive components do, right? So here's this, right? Battery's out. It's unhooked. It's not broken. It's just unhooked. And the switch on the wall to the furnace is off and the breaker is off. And yet they'll actually pump air through my vents, which is why the lady that formerly lived here put, see all them little tack holes in the wall there? You can't see it so good. Well, you can see some of them. She had it all taped off. They called her a crazy person. They did the same thing to her. But she would stand in the hallway and tell them off. She'd be like, "I know who you are, bro. You that white mother effer." She would tell them off. But this will be blowing and that'll be drawing air. And at one point, they were pumping all kinds of smells in here, like marijuana and dirty dog smells, things I was allergic to. Like they were messing with me. And the one maintenance man even said, "Oh, well, the pipes are connected." I said, "Why would the pipes be connected if there's a furnace in here? What I'm not allowed to go to, what somebody, you know, filled the nail holes and had torn this off and apparently went in there." Well, I don't know. Try to find out who it was. It wasn't me. Probably was that lady that lived here, right? I kid you not. I don't lie. I never lie. Nick, the one that liked me, he'll tell you, your word is golden. You never lie. And I don't. Then I put up these spice racks and they wanted to come in here, talk about a fire hazard. I don't ever put these on unless I need this front one, right? Because I want to have my spices here, right? Then they talk about, oh, we got to find out. I think he's got a can of shellac in there or something. Oh, fire hazard. They just wanted to come in here. They wanted to spray for bed bugs. They wanted to soak my pillows, soak my couch. They wanted to have a bed bug dog climb around in my bed. Please allow the dog to climb around in your bed. I'm like, bro, no. Y'all got to help me pack up all my stuff and put it in a storage and move out into a shelter somewhere whilst y'all come in and spray if that's what you have to do, right? Oh man, they were so mean to me, bro. They were so mean because it's neurotoxin. And then they bragged, "Oh, we're going to inject you with weed killer. We're going to inject you with bug spray because it's clopramazine, thorazine, flufenazine, olanzapine, Haldol, Haldiparol, decanoate, and whatever other names they're making it go by in Vega, or I don't know all the names, but those are the ones that I remember specifically. And they were all the same. Neurotoxic poison, what causes Parkinsonisms, what they changed to tardive dyskinesia when I publicly pointed out that, Parkinsonisms is Parkinson's disease, right? It was outlawed in the 1950s, supposedly, but the clocks are wrong. It was known as a chemical lobotomy, right? Neurotoxic chemical lobotomy. Why should someone have to outlaw, torture and murder. Why should that have to be made illegal? Like, hello, I could not lift. I could not lift 8 pounds, right? I couldn't lift 8 pounds over my head. I literally couldn't. They practically killed me. And some man from the LGBTQ said I was schizophrenic, delusional, paranoid, and psychotic, which is all of it. And that I needed to be on neurotoxic, haldiprol, flufenazine, decanoate for the rest of my life and die from it as a sometimes side effect. Wow, I'm not crazy. Doesn't take a rocket genius, bro. That child is not this child. Who's that? That's what Nick says. Who's that? I'm like, I don't know. Jana. It's one of the ones that said she was Francesca Giovanna Esposito. Maybe the one who answered the phone and was laughing and crying at the same time. She answered the phone and said she was in the Philippines when I called the bank. Who are these people? Who are these people? Which one? Which one is which? Oh, it's witchcraft. Which one is which? Yeah, we covered that out of the garbage. They killed him. Another one. Another one killed. So angry, right? It is so angry. I saw a little girl that looks like this. She is a little girl. She's a grown woman, but she's a little girl, and she's married. I don't know if they're married, but her man is a big, tall, brown man. You know, my so-called mother has someone who looks like her twin, who has a brown husband. They live down on Johnson Street, but it's her man. They don't get married or something. They don't need to. Maybe they're married. I don't know. I don't care. That's their man. I turned around. I was like, bro, this place is roots. That looked like just like my mom, except for the missing teeth on the sides and the top, and a brown husband. And he's like, "Yup," that's what he said. And then he was calling me cuz and everything. And I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Well, I found this. The lady was selling. I remember this. That's part of the satanic and the witchcraft grooming, triggered memories and weird slap like that. You know, this thing has bloomed so many times. I can't even tell you in a year this Christmas cactus 1 to 2 times a year because shortened light cycles, like anyone that would grow marijuana or something or horticulture would know, a shortened life cycle induces blooming, right, in a fruiting plant. This thing has bloomed like in a year. I don't want to exaggerate, but it'd be over 15 times, maybe 12 or 15 times. But then it will be argued, what is a year, and how long have I been here, right? I'm not 51 years old, bro. Do I look 51 years old? No. Y'all are crazy. I'm weathered. I'm tired. I've been beaten through the mill, but this was only a couple of years ago. Look how much healthier I used to look. And I was working hard, but people were drugging me. Yes, that is me. And people were drugging me and raping me. He was the manager of the Gap warehouse and somebody burned it. He also did the music for something called, yeah, they do look related, don't they? He did the music for something called whatever that guy that sings like that with the fedora hat. I don't know. This guy was teaching me rhythms. He's like, just switch your hands. You do whatever you're capable of in your hands, and you cut it up, and you try not to mess up the song. You try to add to it. Play from your heart and dance a little. And so they'd bring out this stuff and they show me. And they were nice to me, whilst other people weren't. They're like, "Oh, bring that little pretty woman out here again." They in the back room. She was everybody's baby. I don't know what was going on there, but I don't care. You're not going to hurt me with that. You're not going to hurt me with that. It is possible that that's not me because this was not my. Oh, that one was my shirt. Yeah, that one was mine. But it's a little odd looking, isn't it? But that is Randy. I don't know where Randy went. That is Virginia. She look like a boy. I'll tell you what, she'll bench press you. She could live logs overhead, doors overhead. That, I don't know what. I was told he came to Newburgh and disappeared and was never seen again. I don't know. They came from Canada with us. We went up there with some kind of mission. This one might have got left up there. I don't know what happened. I don't know who took the photo. Maybe my real father. That's Ginny. Yeah, episode 55. What's it called? Bizarre Adventures. It's spelt weird. They spelled bizarre weird. Number 55, Abandoned Places in uh, Nova Scotia, right? Yeah, I looked up the oldest ice cream stand in Nova Scotia. You know how many ice cream stands are? So I looked up the oldest one because surely this one was very rural. You know, surely it was rural. It's a very old place there. Mm. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah, there's other pictures around somewhere. Uh-huh. And then this one was telling me, oh, I didn't know I hurt you. You know, no, it wasn't her. It was a different one. Yeah, they were all different sizes. It was like size one, two, and three, right? And then there was like multiple other doppelgangers, and they were satanically following me, and they were doing like this with their hand and gesturing with their breasts, like put the semen in my hand, like real bad things. Like I'm just like, wow, bro, what the, you know, I don't know. I guess that's Ed. Yeah, I don't know who's who out of the doppelgangers. I guess I'd have, trauma prevents a person from looking close. You know, yeah, I saw somebody dead, but it may not have been her. But it might have been her. She was dead. Just one of them was dead. The whole thing was sick. I worry about people, bro. I worry about people. Oh, so what? Like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, stitches get stitches. Oh, you're going to cost people their life. Bro, it's not going to cost people their life. It's going to help people, bro, because the people who really care, I mean, what do you get when you get, 1,000 people who stand up and tell the truth and say, bro, you want to talk psychic? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, what? And oh, it, oh, huh, what? Oh, you can't get me with that, right? What are you going to get when you get thousands of people telling the truth? Telling the truth. What are you going to get? What are they going to do? Just kill thousands and thousands? They have done it. That's why they called them Nazis, right? They was interested in the occult. They wanted the information, but they weren't willing to let go of corruption, right? Or sin. Oh, it's not religious. It's not religious. It's addiction, right? These shoes I like. I had to get a size 12, which was odd. I never wear 12, but I had to. But the stuff that's in the bottom makes my feet sweat. It's like some kind of memory foam. I don't know if it's latexy or what, but it's unfortunate. This is my first pair of low top skate shoes that are actually thick like skate shoes, but not super padded. They're not bad. Yeah, I did. I cut the logos off. I cut the logos off of it. But I couldn't do anything about that one. I could paint it. I did the same thing to these shoes, right? Oh no, not this one. Those ones don't fit. Those were supposed to be 10, but they wouldn't fit. These ones, right? Where's the logos, right? Where's the logos? I cut them off. Look at that, bro. Tell me how many miles I walked in these shoes, bro. Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. You really love me. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna retire these ones, but I keep them around because they are my favorite. You can't possibly wear them with any water on the ground. You'd be wet instantly. So these ones are dangerous. These were Vias. They're selling them at Walmart. And not being wore out, any surface that you step on that's painted and wet, whether it be a crossing mark or a yellow curb, you go down like a box of rocks, like instantly. So very dangerous. That's about that. So that's it. I'm done. Flip me over, pull the plug, put a fork in me. I don't have much else to say. Except I'm not 51 years old. I'm a little more than half of that. Y'all are nuts. I'm not. I'm not the one who's nuts. Hmm?